Liz86 with $25 says, so excited for low percent. Good luck, both racers. You're not going to have to wait long because we are now ready. Everybody in chat, get as hype as you can for Hercules Bench Press and CScottyW and their 1% hard mode run of Metroid Fusion.
All right. Thank you and welcome. This is Metroid Fusion 1% hard mode, featuring CScottyW versus Hercules Bench Press. I am Rossu123, and with me is JaggerG.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, so just a little bit of introduction and background on these runners and this run. First of all, we'll go with Hercules Bench Press. If you saw the interview earlier, you'll know that he's ran a lot of low percent before basically anyone else really did. So he's got a lot of experience here. And then we have CScottyW. If you don't know him already, he's really good at GBA Metroid. He holds world records for just about almost every category for both Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. So really strong runner here, and it's going to be an interesting race because while Scotty is a really, really good runner, it is 1% and it is also hard mode. So anything can happen here, really. And I'm hoping that this race will be really close.
Yeah, don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So, so like I said, we're doing Metroid Fusion 1% hard. You'll notice that they're playing on Japanese because hard mode and easy mode is only available on Japanese versions of this game. So, with that being said, I think we're ready to go here. And we're supposed to give them the countdown here. So if the runners are ready, we are ready. All right.
I'm good.
You ready? All right.
Yeah.
So we'll count it down in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, Scotty.
Good luck to you.
So the first thing you'll notice in this game is a lot of text. There's a lot of text, but there's much less text in the Japanese version. It saves overall, what, like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes over the English version?
Yeah, roughly 3 minutes. But that's not the main reason why. Like I said, Japanese is the only version that has hard mode. So the convenience of having shorter text versus and having the version correct is very, very useful here. So we're kind of had a little issue with the climb here. Scotty's climb was looking pretty good so far. There's really not much to say about the main deck here. Adam, who is on the computer right now talking to Samus, is basically telling Samus to check around the main deck. There's something that happened, and then the story progresses from there.
Yeah, I always like that first shaft in the game where you just do a bunch of wall jumps and just very cleanly just work your way up.
Yeah, it's also it's also kind of like this is what you can expect to do as a runner of this kind of game. When it comes to optimizing rooms, you have to really learn how to be good with your wall jumps and your general movement overall.
The higher level players, you'll notice, often shoot when they're about to land on a platform. That's it's kind of a similar thing to in Super Metroid, but a lot more precise. You can shoot, which extends your hitbox downwards, so you could actually grab ledges and land sooner than you ordinarily would. And it's just you kind of don't want to do it when you're first starting out in speedrunning, because you can lose more time than you wind up saving just by missing ledges and falling down.
Right. Anytime you have to jump again, you're wasting time. So
they're also jumping up. Whenever they grab a ledge, they jump up platforms because it's slightly faster than actually. It's slightly faster than climbing up by holding forward and press and jump. There's a lot of really minor movement tech that goes into running Fusion.
I will say, while we have this kind of like downtime as well, because we made a switch from in-game time to RTA, we prioritize real time now. So there's a lot of different ways that we go through some rooms. Well, not some rooms, but some of the ways we go through doors just to save time, to make the door transitions kind of quick. So there's going to be some times where we're going to jump through the doors and if you're wondering why we might do that, it's because if we jump through at a very specific height, it will transition faster to the next room than if we hadn't jumped through the door.
Right. Yeah, we call this door fixing. Like Herc said, certain rooms have Samus enter at kind of different vertical positions. So if one door is like lower than where Samus is going to exit out of in the next room, the game will automatically fix that. However, if you have Samus kind of jump through doors most of the time, you'll be able to scroll the screen down just a little bit or up just a little bit, just so that that door fixes slightly faster.
So we're coming up on kind of a sort of a RNG kind of skip thing with the eye door coming up here. They're gonna try to get 2 missiles to hit on consecutive or the same frame, and that'll save a phase of RNG where the door will shoot either 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 shots before opening, and seems to have gone pretty cleanly. The trick basically is you want to simultaneously shoot a missile and respin in midair by pressing jump, and that will fire the missile from the back of Samus's sprite and the bottom of the sprite, so they want to jump in the air first. It's really tricky to do, but saves quite a bit of time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's one of those learning things that as a new runner you kind of hope to master as quickly as possible, because it does save a lot of time. Eric's having a little difficulty here with the red X.
That's putting it lightly.
There you go.
That was all right.
So Scotty gaining a lead here on Herc after that, basically that dance with that Core X. The Core X's are bosses usually that have skills or power-ups or upgrades for Samus when you use them, and you'll see them throughout the game. And also you might have noticed, I'm sure Scotty did it and maybe Herc did as well, they're keeping 1 missile during a boss fight, and it's more of along the lines of they're saving that 1 missile for the Core X that they have to, but later on they're going to use that 1 missile to do a tech called R-shotting. Basically, when you have at least 1 missile in your inventory, if you hold the charge beam and you tap R or the shoulder button to select a missile, that charge beam will automatically shoot out, and that happens mostly for using it on spin jumps. When you don't want to lose your jump momentum, your horizontal momentum, you'll be able to shoot a charge beam, basically without having to worry about slowing down.
Yeah, if you were to just release the shot, just by releasing B, it would kill your jump, and you would just fall down, and you would have to respin to space jump again if you have space jump.
Yep. And the SAX, okay. Very scary. I know that this game came out in 2002. So there are a lot of people that watch this game and like, oh man, I remember when that scared me. And then you guys will be able to see it again and kind of relive that nostalgia, I guess. So we're entering Sector 1 here. They'll be making their way towards they're going to destroy some stabilizer fans here and pick up the charge beam. This game is very linear, so you'll see them. Basically, there aren't any tricks that you can pull here to do some sequence breaking or anything like that. So I mean, it's weird for a Metroid game for it to be this linear, but I think it's more story driven, and that's the reason why they decided to make the game linear.
Yeah, but, it's largely event system based, but it's also pretty airtight in terms of just level design. You really can't go very far usually without the intended equipment to progress.
Right, and if you do manage somehow to sequence break, let's say you fight a boss that is out of order, the game will give you the upgrade that you should have had prior to that boss, and it'll kind of break the game after that.
A lot of times it'll just unlock level 0 doors instead for some reason.
Right.
Oh, darn it.
Oh, Herc having a little bit of difficulty.
Oh my god.
That pirate room. There's a lot of RNG in this game, and that also includes enemy placements and their movements. Usually, when you enter a room, there's about 2 to 4 different enemy starting points, and then another 2 to 4 enemy movement AI, I guess you can call it, or pathing. So every room basically has this kind of RNG, and that's what kind of makes it difficult, especially being a 1% hard mode. They'll have to basically have really good reflexes here and react to the kind of RNG that they're getting.
And speaking of hard mode, those pirates normally do, I believe, 42 damage on normal mode, but in hard mode it's 1.5 times all damage, well, at least most damage in most damage values. So it's actually, what's the math on that? 63 damage per hit.
63.
So, something like that. As if the enemies can't hit any harder. Normal mode enemies already hit like a truck.
And this is the very first sector.
Yeah, when they get to sector 2, and you'll see it, the Zoros in normal mode do 45 damage. So if you increase that by 50%, they can basically two-shot you, and that's not something that you want to do.
Although if you kill like 4 of them and you happen to get health drops, then you can survive 2 shots instead of just 1.
Yeah.
Oh no. Boy. Uh-oh. Ooh.
Whoa. Herc barely surviving there, picking up the charge beam upgrade. Meanwhile, Scotty just finishing up Sector 1 here. He'll be leaving this sector.
Jesus.
And head on over to Sector 2.
Sector 2 was pretty much known as like the first major point where you kind of need to save when you're trying a 1% run, because everything hits so hard. Even in normal mode, you die in 3 hits, and there are just so many enemies that just are conveniently in the way, or inconveniently rather.
Right. Believe it or not, in a lot of tournament races that we've seen so far, Sector 2 has been very difficult for runners that are racing against each other. Because the Zoros hit so hard, you often see runners take it very slowly there, or, you know, kind of mess up a little bit and end up dying and eventually losing the race. So it's a very tough sector very early on, and but I have no doubts these 2 runners are very experienced. They should be able to get through.
Yeah, I think we should have time for a quick donation.
Fantastic. We got $100 from Red X Parasite. They said I had to donate for the game that coined my username. Best of luck to the runners. I hear 1% hard can be a real nightmare.
I get it.
Oh my god.
Let's get another one to redeem that one.
No idea.
Fantastic. Matsu sends $25. Says, long-time watcher, long-time donator. Hyped to see that low percent fusion race. Here's my haiku for the occasion. The fusion draws near. SAX will hunt you down. Prep to face the heat. Thank you.
Pretty good. I like it. So we're gonna be getting, we're gonna be unlocking level 2 doors and letting more X in to surround us, so we could get some bombs, which are basically the probably the best item and the most useful item in the Metroid series, pretty much. You would think the space jump is great, screw attack is amazing, but bombs let you do so much throughout the entire series.
Yeah, bombs, for for most of the Metroid games allow you to do a lot of sequence breakings through infinite bomb jumping. However,
unfortunately, we get a little trolled in this game because bombs are very much nerfed.
Very, very much. First of all, the fuse timer for the bomb, I think, is one of the longest ones in all of the Metroid games. And second, it can't really propel you. You can't really do IBJs or infinite bomb jumps because of how the bomb jump mechanic works in this game. The game requires Samus to basically be still for her to be launched into the air. So while you can technically do infinite bomb jumps here or multiple bomb jumps, you have to kind of do it in a way that Samus is more in the air and also still. So it's a task-only kind of thing that these runners will not be doing at all in this run.
Although legend has it, Biospark has done single wall jumps into like bomb jumps on console.
That's amazing.
He was actually, unfortunately, it wasn't on camera at the time, but he was doing it right before the GDQ run in 2014.
Wow.
Just while practicing.
That's insane.
So
As you see there,
technically possible, not feasible.
Yeah, it's just like, even if you could do it, there's really nothing you can use it for because of the event system. So it's kind of useless.
Dude,
anyway.
What is going on with these drops?
Oh, Herc's commenting about something.
Oh man, these nothing. I was trying to get health drops all the way out of Sector 1, but I had to take a safety save in the beginning of Sector 2 because I had less than 67 health. If I got hit by any of those Zoros, I would have died in one hit because they deal 67. But every drop that I've gotten from these Zoros so far has been pretty much a green X, which is a 1 in 5 chance to happen. Which is really frustrating.
It's really unusual to get more green X's than you will yellow X's if you don't have full health.
Oh my god.
So Herc's being trolled here a little bit. See here, Scotty now entering the boss room. Zazubi up his high jump boots.
This is a pretty major piece of RNG here. We probably have time for a donation here while he's fighting this.
All right, sounds good. We got DEG coming in with a $200 donation. They say Metroid Fusion is the first and only game I ever speedrun, although casually. I had to get the sub 2-hour ending and managed it as an any percent back in the mid-2000s. I'm excited to see this race and know our runners will blow away my time. Donation goes towards Pump It Up, since I'm already so pumped up. And all you out there are also pumped up. We are over halfway there with $61,000. Let's keep it going, people.
Sweet. So, Zazubi, does the RNG change much from normal to hard mode? I know on easy mode, the RNG is basically removed. So basically, Zazubi will jump between 4 and 12 times throughout the fight, and kind of scales up for each round you hit him. So a perfect fight would, I think it's 4 jumps, right?
It's
for
3 jumps.
Three.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
0 to 3, then 1 to 4, then 2 to 5.
Scotty's gonna save here. He's gonna attempt a really difficult trick here that ends runs if you get it wrong.
This is a fun one.
Yeah, it's called a sack skip, and I'll be quiet here while Scotty concentrates.
5.
That was very good.
Yeah, very nicely done. Sacks will kill you in any category if you do it wrong at that point there. So props to Scotty for getting that.
Now here I come to beef it.
Yeah, I like
the run
to see what it's like when you miss it.
Yeah. The runners promised to save before doing this, so it's not much of a time loss.
It saves what, like 5 seconds?
8 seconds.
6 seconds?
Yeah, 6 seconds.
And saving costs about that time as well. But
and if you don't get it, you lose 20 minutes.
Or, wherever you saved last.
Yeah, wherever you save last. if you're doing PV attempts and you don't save and you fail it, you will lose the run.
I'm glad we got to see that. We've probably seen it in past GDQs, right? In the 80% and 100%.
Yes, we have.
Caught me on the bounce.
Oh, and
if it didn't catch me on the bounce, I was home free.
Oh yeah, it's
hoping that you wouldn't go.
You can kind of manipulate that, but
why?
So that you wouldn't die?
That's fine. This category is like already like, you know, deadly enough.
Yeah, you're going to die probably. I hope not.
I got it out of the way early.
Oh yeah, good job. Good thinking. Yeah. Thinking ahead.
Yeah, so his death barely cost him any time. Scotty's death is probably going to cost even more time than that, so that's that's strategy.
Yep.
And the intended method, as Herc did as a backup, is just to let SAX walk through the door.
Yeah.
And that's why it saves time. Basically, it's a really tight window. First of all, you kind of notice they were doing some bit of buffering with the spring ball jumps to kind of time where the SAX was going to be and when it was going to fire. And then you have to, it'll put you in a very precise position where you can spring ball jump over the SAX. And then you kind of have to get lucky, in a sense, that the SAX either shoots above you or doesn't shoot at all, or some combination depending on what happens when you land on the ground.
Not anymore. Scotty and I actually worked to normalize that and make it very consistent.
Very nice.
What Scotty did there was the strat that we worked together on getting it. So with practice, you should be able to do it every single time. Of course, there's timing involved in that. So if you do get it wrong, you do have a chance to back out and just let SAX walk through the door.
That's good. Basically, kind of the old strat was kind of just read and react and hope and cross your fingers, but not cross your fingers because you're holding the controller, and then just hope some more. Now, coming up on Ceres, we got a pretty interesting fight that some players particularly have trouble with sometimes. It should only take 2 shots to kill. Normally it takes, 4 shots? Maybe 5 missiles or something like that.
It takes 5 missiles. Missiles do 10 damage, and Ceres only has 50 health.
Yeah, conveniently, the charge beam, while it does, I want to say like 20 damage on its own, something like that. There's a flare around the gun that actually does damage on its own. It does an additional 6 damage, I think it is, and that'll be enough to kill Ceres in 2 shots exactly. And Scotty here is going for the optimal leftwards out of the tank and just single wall jumping in the water to make it out first try. Very nicely done.
Yeah, that's the only time you can basically gain height on a single wall jumps is if you're underwater.
Reasonably,
reasonably. Anywhere else, you're basically gonna kind of find yourself stuck in the same place. So really nice strat there. It's pretty difficult, but Scotty kind of included that in his normal route now.
Yeah, it was considered like not even worth going for a while, just because it's actually when you're first learning it, it's actually very strenuous on your hands. So you have a tendency to tense up, and it's just really bad. It probably leads to hand problems later down the line. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not as hard anymore.
Yeah, I won't be going for that because I value my hands a little too much.
Oh, and we saw the perfect Ceres fight there from her, killing Ceres in just 2 shots.
Yeah, very good.
Meanwhile, Scotty did a tech that we call low height just earlier. allowing Samus to shine spark basically barely above the floor. Usually when Samus shine sparks, she kind of does a short hop before she takes off. What Scotty did there was actually did a mid-air shine spark, being as close to the ground as possible, basically allowing Samus to fit through that little space there that we call low height. Let's see if her can get that.
If I'm lucky. All right.
See what Hurt can do here. All right, Hurt.
Right, well,
let the shine spark timer drop there, and he'll just have to go for the backup strat.
I did not unmorph in time. It happens, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Scott is saving just before entering Sector 3. So Sector 3 is the reason why 1% exists. There is a missile that is going to be in the way of the runners that they cannot avoid as intended. They are supposed to get that as intended. However, it is possible to avoid them. On the English version, you are actually able to clip out of bounds to avoid that missile. However, in the Japanese version, since it came out after the English version, the bug finders found all these glitches, patched it on the Japanese version.
And more.
Yeah. And so basically the only way for you to skip this missile is to do a series of shine spark chains, and you get like a 7-frame window of error, which is very difficult. He has to jump about 4 or 5 times, basically frame perfect. So that is extremely difficult, and it'll take a runner a very long time, even with pause buffering and buffering inputs and all that, just to get it. So the runners decided here to just do a 1%, since they're limited to using the Japanese version to play on hard mode. That missile that Scotty picked up there is what we call the Bob missile.
Yeah, technically the Shine Spark has about a 7 frame leeway, I think, if done optimally, but it's just optimizing your movement, especially while ascending vertically. In just about any video game, you're gonna lose like dozens of frames. Ooh. So it's just extremely tight for humans.
Hurt getting that fancy shine spark there.
Frame perfect.
Frame perfect shine spark. So basically, when Samus is falling while in the shine spark speed booster state, you have 1 frame to press down the moment she lands. So basically, when her foot touches the ground, you have 1 frame to press down and actually store that speed booster into a shine spark, which is very interesting. That's one of the times you do it, and in 100% you have a really cool trick that you could do that use that tech, but it's very difficult to do.
Whoops.
Or getting that shine break there, and it'll shine spark straight up.
Knowing Scotty, he probably skipped Bob.
Oh.
I wish.
He tried to, and he failed it on the first jump.
You would have heard the audience going wild if he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been
Even though
shouting.
we're online and we don't have the audience in a room, I'm sure we would hear the audience anyway. With an accomplishment like that.
I actually promised Scotty that I'd donate $100 if he got it on the first try.
I would have donated way more than 100 if I had gotten that first try.
But it turned into a one-man race at this point, racing different categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if I can get it here.
Which would make you the default winner, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it says 1%, not 0%. So Herc
Don't
would
tell
be
anyone.
the winner. I mean, Scotty could just grab an extra E-tank or something and make it
That's
1%.
That'd be
Yeah, it's true.
easy win.
Just get the health, yeah.
So Herc's
I'll
gonna
just
take
get
a
an
safety
extra
save
powerbomb
here.
pack.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that the power bomb it only exists so that you can get more power bombs. Really,
Is it though?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for power bombs, you start with you get 10 when you first grab them, and in normal mode you could get up to 74. Unfortunately, on hard mode, I guess you could only get up to what, like 40, 41 or something.
Oh
42.
no, 40. Oh no, that's just way too much. And so the reason why. Believe it or not, the reason why that there are so many power bombs and missiles and health tanks that these guys are getting is because they don't have that super missile at being a separate option for their ammo.
And also the major items don't count towards percentage. We kind of forgot to mention that earlier, but
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will be getting every major item in the game, so it's very different from other low percents in other Metroid games, but it's still very challenging. And you can see you could still get one shot by Blue X in hard mode.
Oh, there. Speaking of,
Yeah, thanks for
it's-
mentioning that.
Yeah. Oh, Scotty. Oh no.
I forgot to refreeze the one that's hiding in the block.
Did
Yeah,
you?
basically,
Where did you save?
he saved Sector 6. Yeah, he's not that far behind where he died.
Okay.
So basically, at this point on, almost every
man.
enemy will one-shot you.
It's a very interesting property of the Blue X. It doesn't do like a set amount of damage immediately like other enemies. Like it doesn't just hurt you for 80 damage on contact. It usually, like on normal mode, it usually hurts you for 80 damage total. But it actually does it in multiple steps. It drains your energy first. Like I don't know exactly how that's calculated, but then it does its final like instance of attack that does like 30 or 50 or something damage afterwards. So technically it's not always a one shot on hard mode, but it usually is.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a story. I'm guessing that's kind of story driven. The reason why is because Samus in her future is vulnerable to anything cold related, so those ice axes actually hurt her, and then when she tries to absorb it, it then damages her. I mean, it's kind of weird to explain. It's a very unique enemy in that it's one that does damage like that.
Yeah, she's extra vulnerable to cold because she now has Metroid DNA in her.
And as you saw there, Scotty doing a really quick SAX skip, jumping right over SAX and avoiding the ice beams. Not sure if Herc does it. Do you do it?
No, I do the other, the one from way back when.
Okay, so
Where
Herc's gonna do
just
the
wait.
traditional
Yeah.
SAX skip here. So that death from Scotty put him back just a little bit. Herc's catching up that far behind.
I've had to save a little bit more than I've wanted to, but it's just what my health has been at has not really dictated, being able to risk it and take a hit and live.
So
Right.
Either I
speaking of
take a hit and
playing,
go back, or I save and whatever.
for sure. Speaking of being risky, Scotty's doing the fast strat. Normally in any percent, you can just face tank the kind of the shield around the Mega X, that boss there, and you can shoot it from inside to get the full 26 damage per shot, and you could kill it in 4 shots. In low percent, however, you can only take so many hits, and it's extra risky because sometimes those the barrier around it can hit you twice at once to deal multiple hits of damage. So
Yeah, the other thing about that little barrier as well is that it's not really consistently around the Mega X. It's actually moving in and out, pulsating to and fro. So it's actually its hit radius is actually growing and shrinking during the fight.
Okay, Herc is going to take a little safely here. Oh, he takes a hit anyway.
Gets one direct hit, though.
I figured this fight out and I've made it safe. You can just bounce it back and forth by standing in this one spot.
It's got to be a pretty precise spot, because that thing, like, it kind of tethers to your position in a way, but, like, you can't see it when it's off screen, so you really gotta...
Yeah, if
you gotta manipulate in a very specific manner.
If it's like if it's in that like arc that it was just in for my fight, where I'm standing on the right side of that middle platform, and I hit it when it's like going up and around me, it'll always come back down and try to like come back under me, just from the way it gets hit. I was able to. I sat there and like practiced this fight over and over again, because it's usually like the big like first reset point, or like the first death that you would usually experience in this run. And funnily enough, it actually had like some consistency to it.
Yeah, in any percent and 100%, it's a very easy fight, and in low percent, it's very difficult.
Make things worse, after getting your Varia suit, exiting Sector 6 is actually also very difficult. As I mentioned earlier, these enemies have different starting points and also different routes or pathing that they take. Since there are so many here, and there includes these puffer enemies that shoot purple clouds when you hit them, it makes it very difficult to get through these rooms optimally.
Yo, 1111, make a wish, everybody.
I wish for a donation comment.
Oh yeah,
me too.
And a donation comment you gentlemen shall have. We have
Yay.
Wild Eep with $100. Wild Eep says, I'm always hyped for Metroid speedrun races at GDQ. Hope this one's living up to your expectations. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd say so. These are some top runners, and this is one of the hardest categories in well, you think it's one of the hardest categories in any video game? Probably.
Depends.
I would say low
Top
percent.
50 for sure.
Top 50 for sure, but if I had to, I would say Super Metroid low percent speed booster is one of the hardest.
Okay.
But this is up there for sure. Just because like everything hits so hard, you gotta really know the game inside and out and how to react to these enemies, because they're not always in the same place.
Yeah.
I was a bit wary of doing low percent Super Metroid, just because like I'm not much of a Super Metroid runner, but like I figured it would probably be harder than Fusion or Zero Mission, and apparently Zosty thinks otherwise. He thinks Fusion is much harder because you actually don't get energy tanks, whereas in Super Metroid you get 3.
Yeah, it's required, and yeah. I guess that's the only other thing that might kind of balance it out between the difficulties.
Oh,
Scotty's going for reverse ice here. I think he's going to try it once or twice.
I'm going to be going for it as well.
Okay. So I mentioned earlier how you can basically keep that Shine Spark after falling with Speed Booster. Scotty tried to do it there. It's a 1-frame trick.
It saves a whole second, though.
It does save a whole second, and it's technically sequence breaking.
So risky, though.
It is very risky.
It costs about 15
seconds
seconds real time if you fail it.
Yeah,
I think it's 30.
It's not worth it at all.
And the worst part about it is that you can pause buffer that, but every time you pause buffer, you lose that time save that you're trying to get. So it kind of sucks to do, really. But I'm glad that these guys are showing it off here, just kind of as an exhibition.
I mean, listen, Jagger's here. We can't not do the Jagger strats.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he got the reverse tank escape.
Sure did.
All right, let's hope I can get this. I was nailing this in practice, but I'm sure I'll beef it now.
Gonna have all eyes on Herc's side here.
Watch him beef it.
Yup.
Oh no.
I think it might have been slightly too late.
A walk of shame going back.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
always
right.
kind of have trouble deciding if I was too late or too early because at 60 frames per second, it's really difficult to tell.
Yeah. Another thing that we should probably mention is that you kind of could see that I was able to continue to get a shine spark there while opening that gate through the door. What we're doing is we're holding a charge beam, a full charge through the door transition. We're actually letting go of the shot button that is holding that charge. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to fire the charge beam on the very first frame when we regain control of Samus. And this is essentially, how we're going to be able to open doors and shutters a lot quicker than normal. Because if otherwise, we would end up hitting that little gate there, and we wouldn't be able to get a shine spark through that area or a speed booster.
Yeah, you basically have to release the button as the door's closing before the screen starts shifting. If the screen starts shifting, you get it on the second frame instead.
Gonna be a lot of dog faces in chat in a second here.
Yeah. It's a great section.
And there's actually a song that goes along with this section that I will be singing. Even though,
you're gonna sing?
yeah, they won't be able to hear my audio, I bet. This, I believe Scotty's in the lead.
Yeah, I was thinking of singing it, but I don't hear the audio.
I mean, you can sing
I
acapella.
don't know how the delay is going to be on that.
That's gonna be interesting.
Find out.
Like, no missiles.
So get your Franker-Z's in chat.
Yeah, emergency and Franker-Z, everybody.
Yeah, if you're not in chat or like you're not a subscriber or something, you can say it out loud. That works too.
Or you could use your sweet Twitch Prime subs to join in.
Absolutely.
That's true. With Twitch Prime, you actually do get a free subscription to any channel on Twitch. So you
Low
could
price
still
of
donate
$3.99.
without donating.
Don't let up until we're both done this area. Are you at the eye door or?
No, I missed this spot.
My
it was
God.
a zero beam, so it would have been like a 37 or 38.
Didn't you die at some point too? How are you that much
Yeah,
further
that doesn't
ahead?
affect my emergency time.
Still,
Oh, man.
434 is a really good emergency time.
Yeah,
That's
that's really
very
good.
strong. Yeah, very strong time.
That's a
Anything
Charlie Murphy
above
versus
430
Prince.
is really good.
What is going on?
That was so scary.
Bark. To the Franker-Z bark. Here Z bark so free. Bark, 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 Franker-Z.
Woo! I love this.
Yay.
Lovely singing art.
Thanks. I put my all into it.
Yeah, I could tell. It was angelic.
Listen,
Someone
I'm not
should
gonna be
donate.
like, road trip going for it, but I went for it. Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Yeah, this
Oh,
being
yeah.
like a low percent game, you're gonna hear the runners make a lot of grunts and with all these near misses and stuff. Herc is dangerously low here.
Thanks.
He doesn't have enough ammo to set up the quick climb here, so he's gonna
Sure.
take it safely.
Sure, I'll beef it still somehow. This. Yo, Door, thanks for being a bro and not giving me any beams.
Nice.
That was not a double. That was a double. Oh,
All right. So both runners have repaired the ship somehow with the computer, and is no longer going to melt down.
So
You
we're
say
coming up
repaired
on
the
a
ship somehow?
Yeah.
Magic.
I mean, something happened, right? And you need to
She
repair
slammed her hand down on the keyboard. And
I can
it
only
shifted the
Punched
imagine.
a few times.
I can only imagine Hacker Man just like Samus Hacker Man and just like pounding on the keyboard and giving you that cool face.
Yeah, so Scotty's coming up on a trick deemed the impossible strat, and she's going for right now in this room. And it's still called the impossible strat because Jimmy did the science and it's impossible. It's pretty easy though. You basically you kind of time your jump so you're above these stretchy heads, like when they get frozen, and you kind of do a wall jump up above and freeze the other one above you while it's below you. That makes sense somehow. Don't worry
A
about
very
it.
nice strat.
Yeah, it looks really nice. It
There goes
also
that
looks
animal.
difficult, but it's actually not that difficult.
I'm in a way right now.
And here come the animals. Also
go the
major
animals.
RNG factor in this game for some reason.
Hate those animals.
So they can move at varying speeds and directions when they're trying to go through the wall. They go
Sometimes
through
they
the
can
door
just
whenever they
stop.
happen to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
they can just stop in place.
or they can just run past the door and go play on the tire swing.
And they can wave at you. They wave at you.
They taunt
Yup.
you.
Yeah, they actually wave at you and say, "Oh, you're trying to save time? Let me just hang out here."
They push their face against the glass and they're like, "Hey, bet you wish I was out there, don't you?"
Because unfortunately, Samus is paralyzed until she gets approval from the animals to continue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the animals know how far ahead you are against your PB, so he'll be like,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, you're 5 seconds ahead. I'll just hang out here for 7 seconds."
There is such a thing as like perfect animals. I've gotten it one time in my like 6 years of running this game, and I wasted it on like a warm up.
The running
I was-
theory is that every runner gets one perfect animals, and that's it.
Everyone gets
That
one.
is it. Just one.
Always be recording. So we got time for another donation?
Sounds great. Ozzy James sends us $25 and says, Metroid Fusion was my first Metroid experience. I'll never forget the chill I felt when I first saw the SAX's cold, lifeless stare. This is a really cool category. Good luck to all the runners. Oh, and praise Helix. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Scotty felt the chill earlier in Sector 6 as well.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I can't wait until I
That
die
one
and you
hurt.
grill me on whatever I did.
Absolutely.
No, come back, come back.
Dude, you
He's
remember
gone.
that time Herc failed the sack skip?
Where's the other one? Oh, there he
Live in
is.
front of like tens of thousands of people too.
The, the one, I think it's Edikun. The one Edikun is like the shortest distance to run came out last. The other one went, played on those 2 tire swings, and came back before him.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
What the heck? So rude.
He's the gatekeeper.
I think the time the animals wait before coming out is relative to the time it takes for you to save them in Super Metroid.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Who did
if you
that
don't
to
save
me?
them,
Okay, that's cool.
Then they never come out.
I'm
they know what you did.
That Ripper that I ran into did 55 damage.
yeah, they do a lot.
Like, what the heck?
Oh, just wait, because now we're going to be entering the territory, or at least Scotty is at the moment, where things will just one-shot you. They will deal like 100+ damage. The first thing that will, well, I mean, technically the first thing is that like machine. I don't know what the exact name of it. Words.
The nightmare?
No, the like I don't. It's like a. They do 90
robot
damage.
Thing or what?
Yeah, it's the like the rocket propelled like lurkers on the ceiling.
Rocket butts.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
They do like
What are we
90
talking
and they'll do-
about?
Yeah.
The things that swoop down on you and then go back up.
The ones that can only be damaged by missiles.
Yeah, they deal 135 in hard mode.
You know what's really interesting is these normal enemies hit harder than some bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of them. I'm pretty sure there's no boss that will actually kill you in one hit in hard mode. So the most dangerous thing is like going from room to room.
Here.
I'm gonna save here just because I could beef this. I'd rather not.
Strategically saving after talking to Adam because when you
I would have
inevitably
saved
die.
before,
Oh, I'm a
but
prophet.
I just forgot.
Oh my god. It's like I can see the
But in
future.
retrospect, that was a good idea.
I've definitely died there before. Yeah.
Alright,
Those
so
fireballs, they
hit, man. They hit real hard.
especially when you're on 16 health, they're very dangerous.
Yeah.
So Scotty backtracked for a save here, and it's for good reason. Room coming up here is a very dangerous room, very RNG, and one slight misstep here can kill him. So it was definitely worth it for him to save.
There's basically these things that spit on you from the ceiling. They're called Muppet roaches.
That's a new name, but I love it.
They're exactly like if the Muppets made roaches, which I think they did. Come
Oh
to
my
think
god.
of it.
Scotty gets through successfully, and he had to use a speed booster there because if he did not speed booster, there's an alternate path that requires a power bomb to get through. However, it's being blocked by a missile tank that he can't get. So running through with speed booster is the only way, and Scotty was able to do it.
So once again, after talking to Adam, Scotty is going to be going back into the ship to save because he's coming up on a section we call the Gauntlet, which is a very difficult section right before a boss fight, and you can't save until after the boss fight. So there's a very high chance of death here. And even more scary than that, before the actual Gauntlet, you get like the hardest boss in the game, the energy tank that you have to jump over. And if you touch that energy tank, you can touch the energy tank for a few frames. And he does manage to jump over it pretty cleanly. Good job there. But like, it'll acquire the energy tank after a couple frames of touching it. I don't know exactly why or how, but you know, video games, they just do these things.
I will say as well, it's the next bit is also really bad because those space pirates, I believe they deal 86 on contact, and I think 85 with the beams. Could have that backwards.
It might be a rounding thing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
They're deadly.
So Scotty got through the Gauntlet pretty cleanly, and he's just got the Yakuza fight. This is a very difficult boss fight. No matter how many times you fight it, it's still very difficult. You can't really nail down a pattern or anything. You just have to react to every jump here. It's random which direction and how fast he jumps. And kind of when he spits out the junk as well. The junk also serves as kind of a shield to, like, if you were to use missiles, then it would just block the missile, just tank the damage instead.
And,
So he's got that part down. And the Core X is dangerous as well if you're not careful, if you're not paying attention, if you think you're safe.
Yeah, like
You're never safe.
I remember watching some runners that would fight hard bosses for example, Xbox will get there later and be relieved when they finally defeat the boss, only to fight the Core X right afterwards and die again anyway. So it's very, they're not easy. You know, like it's not over yet until you actually get the upgrade.
Actually,
Yeah.
does the Beam Core X, the Wave Beam Core X, actually one-shot you with the beam?
Yes, on hard.
It does, yeah.
Oh yeah.
On normal, it does 80.
So that's the one instance where it one-shots you in hard, or a boss
120.
one-shots you in hard.
All right, now here comes the comic relief, as brought to you by Herc.
Give us a good laugh, Herc.
Oh, don't worry, this will be legendary.
Will he get past the first boss?
I'll probably pick up the E-Tank
The
by
hardest
accident.
boss.
That was close.
Ooh, you were touching it. That's not fair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can actually touch the sprite and like be inside it for a couple frames. It's, as long as you're not in for like, I don't know, like 5 consecutive frames or something. Which seems like a lot, but I mean, you're moving pretty slowly in the air.
Yeah, we should probably also mention the fastest way you can move through these rooms, is by, well, that's bad, is by running and rolling in the ball. When you jump, you lose half of your horizontal momentum.
If you were able to wall jump over it, you would be going faster than normal jumping, but there's no wall there, and that would be really difficult anyway.
Oh boy. No!
Oh no.
That didn't sound
I
good.
saw that coming.
He touched the butt.
Yeah,
sure did touch the
took a
butt.
death there.
Like I said, I'm here with the comic relief.
Scotty here fighting Metroid, the plasma being boss, who's also responsible for all the jungle vegetation and growth throughout the space station, or mostly Sector 2. You'll notice that the environment will actually change in Sector 2 because this boss is dead.
So these two bosses, Netori and Yakuza, as well as Nightmare, are the main reasons that this category is so much more difficult. Like, the lack of E-tanks isn't as big a deal, but not having missiles, it dramatically prolongs these fights, which makes it that much more likely to take even more hits during fights.
And the Core X's still do a lot of damage, as you saw on Scotty's side there.
Yeah.
Taking a death.
Normally, you don't get hit with that setup by the plasma beam.
You guys think you saved?
did
Are you
something wrong.
serious?
Yeah, the nice thing about
Oh my god.
yeah, the knees were in there for like 1 frame too long.
Dude, I was only kidding about the comic relief thing. What the heck? I picked it up twice. Come on.
You can use those E-tanks to spell out your feelings.
Yeah. All right. If it this time, everything's gonna be A-okay.
Conveniently, the for the Beam Core X's, you can touch the core to take less damage than you would from getting hit by the beam. You could kind of get iframes by touching the core. It does quite a bit of damage still, but it won't one-shot you.
It was almost like that core predicted Scotty's movement there. I think it was the 3rd shot. Almost killed him.
Yeah, that's what happens if you try to shoot it from too far away.
Yeah. All right. This time will go way better.
Because it'll fire its beam when the missile hits. So if you
No!
jump too early, it will aim up at you before the missile hits and just shoot.
Why am I bad?
Uh-oh.
Lack of practice, maybe?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, this is not great again. It gave me the worst pattern it could have given me. It being in that corner limits my options by a lot. God. I'm not happy right now with this boss. Giving me problems. My practice earlier went so well.
Yeah, I used to stand in very specific positions during the first phase to make sure it bounces back and forth between two locations, and then I would know where to stand to avoid the fire, and I would morph just to be extra safe. But it's hard.
It's tough.
It's a hard boss.
This has to be the hardest part of the game, whole section in general.
Yeah.
Just hard boss after hard boss.
Yeah, and as soon as I think when you get with your wave beam, it starts to calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Everything else just
at the
becomes a
very end of
joke.
the game.
Everything is just like stun lock central.
Yeah, they do have to worry about Ridley, however. So we'll talk about him when we get there.
Just wasted a missile. Dude, I'm epic.
Yeah, shall we get a quick donation?
Yeah, we got Muffin Mark with a $50 donation. See, I've got a question for the hosts and runners. How would Samus do if she was put in the Doom series?
Probably okay.
Personally,
I mean,
think she
depends
would
on if she's
a
given
ball
all
and
of her
bomb until
upgrades.
it's done.
Yeah, especially in modern Dooms, yeah.
If she takes a lot of damage from caterpillars, I don't know how well she'll do it.
Uh-oh.
Well, she could just not get hit.
That's true.
Right?
What?
Oh no, her gets grabbed.
You gotta be kidding me. How is he still
He got
alive?
deboosted into Yakuza's claws.
Yeah.
I don't even know why it was still alive. It should have been dead.
Maybe like one of the charge beam, the charge white beam. Well, even the base
first one,
charge
I
beam,
think, missed.
like they have multiple parts to them. So if not all of the parts hit, like each section of the charged white beam do 15 damage. And so if one of them doesn't hit, then you're only doing 30 damage instead of the 45 you would expect.
All right, and I think this is the moment everyone's been waiting for. The death match between Samus and Nightmare. Nightmare is a very
it
is a very, very difficult boss on low percent, even in normal mode, because of how Nightmare moves around. You can manipulate Nightmare's movement, but not always successfully. And we're gonna see how Scotty fares here.
Yeah, some people struggle with it casually. It's a pretty tough boss fight when you don't exactly know what you're doing. In any percent, however, like once you figure out kind of how it works, you want to spam missiles. That's your biggest source of damage. Ironically, the plasma beam he got from Notori earlier actually does less damage than a charged white beam, because the plasma beam does damage per frame, and unfortunately on Nightmare it only does 1 frame of damage. So it actually does, I forget how much, but it's a downgrade in any case. So you want to spam missiles, and in any percent, like if you have 1 or 2 E-tanks, whatever, you could just face tank Nightmare. It doesn't matter, because it's gonna die like well before you do. But on low percent, of course, on low percent hard especially, you die in I think 2 hits, maybe 3.
That was a really clean.
Very good. And another thing you may notice if you're paying extra close attention, he sometimes space jumps through the arms of Nightmare. That's because when you're charging your beam and spin jumping, you have what's called a pseudo screw attack. That charge beam will do damage, like when it's kind of pulsing throughout your body, and that will make contact with the arms, and unfortunately it won't do damage to the arms, but it's still making contact and preventing you from taking damage from them.
This fight would be so much harder without that.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have noticed a minor detail here. Both of the runners using a power bomb just as the Core X spawns. And the reason why they do that is that the power bomb actually acts as if there's like 2 phases to the power bomb. One is the explosion, and then there's a vacuum phase where if any of the X's are caught in that explosion radius, they get sucked into where you planted that power bomb. That allows the runners to pick them all up without having to chase them around.
Surprisingly enough, the one time I beat Yakuza, he wasn't trolling in the corner.
Scotty successfully making it past the 1% fish.
Herc actually getting through Yakuza a little behind. Maybe
it's like Charlie Murphy versus Prince. You know, it's cool.
I mean, with some luck, maybe Scotty might help you catch up here.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
1% fish is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, even after you've finished the bosses and got your full health refill, you still actually have to make it to a save station without taking too much damage, and those fish hurt. They're not one shot, but they hurt.
I think the big fish might be one shots. I don't remember.
Okay.
The aqua pirates are definitely one shots.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me do it.
Yeah, they're swimming around being all like, I'm a pirate girl in a pirate world.
Scotty's taking it very carefully here. Normally, we would just take hits. Like in any percent, we just take hits as we walk through here. But Scotty's making sure that he freezes the enemies and not get hit at all. Can be very dangerous.
So a pretty commonly known trick is to actually get to the navigation room before getting diffusion missiles. Unfortunately, when you do so, you get yelled at by the computer, and you have to go back and get the diffusion missiles. So it doesn't technically count as a sequence break because you have to actually go back in sequence.
I guess you could call it like a side quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it.
Although technically you could take the back door to get to the diffusion missiles if you do the Shine Spark method to go towards the secret message and then just go freeze one of the puffers like inside the tunnel with a well-angled bent missile. But unfortunately it's still slower.
And they patched that in
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know if you can still do the back door, though. I know you can't get out that way, but you might be able to get back in that way.
Oh, yeah, probably. Maybe.
I don't think I've actually tried.
And it would still be slower anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe if someone could find an ice clip that will save time somewhere, somehow. I don't know.
You can ice clip to do bigger message on English, but it's still slower.
Yeah.
You need like a really well-positioned fish, and the fish take forever to move.
Do we got time for another donation?
Hey, sounds great. We got Best in Tamriel with a $30 donation. They say, come on, everyone, we need to pump it up. And not just for this run, but for the bonus incentive as well. Best of luck to both runners on the rest of this great Metroid run. Just want to update you guys. We currently are nearly at $63,000 out of the 120 we need. You guys are doing awesome. Let's keep it up.
Dude, I love bonus incentives and marathons. It's one of my favorite things about marathons. Just like unlocking more content.
Thought about it that way.
It's DLC for the marathon.
Yeah.
When I was first getting into gaming marathons, like I never considered myself a very good like donation getter. Like I don't know what the term is. Like salesperson? I don't know.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to help out in any way I could, and all I could do was play video games. So like the fact that video games have things you can show off that you just ordinarily wouldn't, it's really big for those kinds of events. And in general, just general tricks are some of my favorite things. Like even if they're useless in a speed run, they're so flashy. There's such good entertainment value.
Scotty taking care of that. Wave B4X now has the strongest beam in the game. Or boss with an upgrade. Actually, technically, not really. But we're being technical, yeah, not really. It's gonna be really, and we have Herc and Nightmare now. Who's gonna start the fight?
So this an interesting thing about Fusion is that you have missiles and you have your charge beam, your stack of beams, and in most video games, like you just have one that's clearly stronger than the other, but in Fusion it kind of alternates between the two. Like you upgrade you get your missiles at first, and those are clearly better, and then you get charge beam, and that's clearly better. Then you upgrade to super missiles, and that's clearly better. And then it just kind of keeps chaining from there. And then when you get plasma beam, your beam is way better, except on bosses where it only hits for 1 frame, so the missiles are still better. And then you get wave beam, and then it goes back to the being better again. So you kind of have to learn on a boss by boss basis which to use.
Are doing really good nightmare manipulation here. Be one more round.
Oh. Oh no.
One more round.
Like 2 shots away. There we go.
Very nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if runners actually dreamed about Nightmare.
I try not to.
There's a very easy pun here that I'm not gonna say.
Imagine that Yakuza took longer than this guy.
Yakuza is arguably the hardest boss in the game.
Yeah.
Like, Nightmare technically gets easier when you learn his patterns, whereas Yakuza is pretty much always just as hard as when you first fought him.
So that third phase, I don't know if you guys like talked about it, but can't predict where he flies off to when he starts flying around the room. Just because the way that some X will work in this game is that they'll follow like an invisible hitbox. So because there's one in that room, the Nightmare will it will follow that invisible hitbox before focusing on Samus. But the way I opened up that fight, I was able to guarantee that I would get the same patterns where he won't fly like directly up at me, so I could predict where he was always going to be.
I actually managed to figure out the first 15 to 20 seconds of that invisible hitbox's movement. which is useful for any percent, but not necessarily for an extended fight like low percent has.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was doing there too is that I was using a strat that I came up with when I was routing Oil Spill, which is a fusion ROM hack, in which I was using flare shots to get a little bit of extra damage on the fight to kind of end the fight a little faster. The first round he kind of stopped in the middle of the room. If he had stopped in the far right, which is where I was hoping he would, I would have been able to finish that up in like 4 pretty quick rounds. But we got an extra one in there, but still a really good fight.
Oh, we forgot to warn you guys about the at least volume.
Oh yeah.
Whoops. Ridley is ridiculously loud, like
ear warning.
Like way out of proportion for any of the other sounds in this game.
How does that compare to like the startup cutscene of Zero Mission?
Oh my god!
The ship, which is
I think the startup cutscene might be louder.
Yeah.
I will always remember when JRP went into TeamSpeak and he turned his television to max volume with that ZM intro and he started talking. It sounded like he was down the hall. His like microphone was like so blown out. It was ridiculously loud. Also, shoutouts to JRP.
Yeah.
Also, shoutouts to Shenanigans _. It's his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, Shen.
Happy birthday. Is that where you were eating cake in the interview for?
Maybe. Dude, Termini Brothers has really good cake, okay? Come on. The last bite, it was just tempting me.
So I believe Shen is 10 years old now. He can start his real-life Pokemon adventure, right?
From what I hear,
He's now of age. That's why he has been practicing speedrunning Pokemon so much. So we have time for another donation while we're talking to the computer, but less so on Japanese.
Fantastic. We got Rexus coming in with a $44 donation. They say, first time donating, and what better way than in one of my favorite horror games of all times. Don't let SAX get you. And let's get a $44 train going on in the chat for the upcoming Metroid Prime 4 game. Yo, thank you so much.
Unfortunately, SAX got Herc.
Yeah. It's fine. Yakuza got me more, so I think it balances out.
Scotty's at the end game part here. Just a couple more bosses left. The final fight between Samus and SAX, which is made hilariously easy with a stun lock trick that Scotty's going to try to do. Casually, it is a very difficult fight. Actually, there are baby strats that you can do casually if you manage to figure it out. But for the most part, it is actually a pretty difficult fight. Especially when you don't get that stun lock in, things will just fall apart really quickly.
Yeah, if you don't get that stun lock in low percent, you're probably dead.
You got to get real familiar with the baby strats, and even the baby strats aren't really easy.
Strats.
Oh boy, that's bad.
So this is going to be the last save that Scotty makes.
Coward.
Well, he's got to do it so he can go for Pogo, right?
It's true.
That is true. It's very true.
And get hit once? And die?
Probably.
That would be bold. Or round is a myth.
So it's
Really
a pretty
good stun
tight
lock
window.
It is very.
You gotta freeze the SAX kind of like as it's taking damage, or it'll break out.
I don't think it matters where you freeze it, as long as you get your shots in the right.
There's actually two things going on there with that Sunlock. If you played as casually, you might have wondered why that fight was really quick when, if you just shot normal charge beams at SAX, it'd take a lot longer. The reason why is because when SAX is frozen, she actually takes all of those wide beam or wave beam shots. It does damage per frame. So when she's frozen, she takes all of that damage. However, if you hit SAX when she's not frozen, it only takes some of that damage.
Yeah, so like when frozen, it takes like maybe 4 shots if you shoot diagonally through her hitbox, whereas if unfrozen, it takes like over 20, right?
Something like that. Yeah, it's very long. Because the iframes immediately kick in for SAX. However, when she's frozen, she doesn't get those iframes.
And we forgot to mention that for Ridley as well. Shooting diagonally it's a geometric property that just going through a diagonal will take longer than just going straight across. The beam actually does move at that square root of 2 speed.
Only about like 10 minutes out, right?
Yeah.
Give or take, yeah. So Scotty finishing up here on the end sequence against the Omega. We're gonna get that pogo, right?
Oh yeah, I'm doing it right now. Can't you see it?
There's a pretty awesome strat where you can either shine spark over the Omega Metroid to get behind it, or you can space jump over it, and you just continuously space jump in the corner, like above its back, and it'll try to jump to hit you, but it can't jump very high, so you could just keep space jumping, and it'll perpetually jump up and down until it either hits you or time runs out.
Just like that.
Coming
Omega
up on
is
time
dead.
when Samus faces forward.
GG, Scotty.
That's time for me.
GG.
GG, very good run. Couple
That was
deaths,
awesome.
but otherwise
I think
very clean
2
run.
deaths.
Yeah.
Pretty good otherwise.
Yeah.
You hanging in there, Herc?
Yeah, I'm doing my thing. Probably save before Ridley, shouldn't I?
That's a good
That'd be a
idea.
It is a
I
good
saved
idea.
before the gold pirates because they can one-shot.
Sure can.
Huh.
I'm not that smart, so.
Yeah, I actually looked up a map this morning to see if there were any saves in Wave and Ridley in Sector 1. These are just rooms that you never visit.
Yeah, I'll just take this safety save. I won't safety save for the last 2. They're pretty easy. One is very easy, though. It is a shame that, like, Yakuza trolled, but whatever.
There are a couple of strategies for Ridley, actually. There is a strat where you just stand in the bottom right corner and you time your shots in order to just get Ridley to recoil in just the right moments.
That
And
sounds very difficult to do. I have not heard of that.
It's basically an any percent strat, kind of adapted for low percent that JRP used to do.
Interesting.
And in theory, it's probably faster, right?
It should be.
But good luck with that. I mean,
But if you're losing
JRP said
time
it
to
was pretty
manipulate it-
reliable, though.
If you're losing time to manipulating Ridley, you're probably gonna end up losing time to spamming charge shot.
Yeah, I don't think you're really losing time from manipulating it, though. It's just because like if you kind of let him go, he'll fly pretty fast towards you. You just kind of want to keep him sort of stun locked, and unfortunately, he tends to recoil towards you as well. So I don't know exactly
and turn
how it
around
works.
when you don't want him to.
Yeah.
Very clean fight otherwise.
Yeah, that was
Using
really
the
nice.
low percent strat. I don't think we talked about that. That's where the runners use that R shot that we mentioned very early in the run. You'd be able to continue to space jump and shoot beams without breaking that space jump is very useful. If R shot didn't exist, I don't think that 1% would be a very fun category to do.
Nope.
You can do that fight with that strat without using R shots. That's how I did it like the very first time when I was like,
Oof.
I didn't know how to R shot, or like it wasn't in my muscle memory. And it wasn't that bad if you careful with it.
Yeah, kind of like you make sure he bounces off the wall before you shoot or something.
Yeah, it'll give you plenty of space to drop down and get another space jump.
It would take longer because you have to kind of wait for him, but
Yeah, but it's
I could see that.
not that bad. R shots are definitely easier though once you have that muscle.
I still kind of struggle with it. Like, it's really awkward because you got to be holding B. You got to be constantly space jumping left. If you press jump too soon, it won't let you jump because you didn't fall down far enough. So you have to wait to press your jump. And then, like, as you're jumping, you got to press right, press R, release R as soon as possible, and then press left again, and then maintain the rhythm with which you're space jumping. It's really complicated.
Tricky. Yeah, I don't know if you talked about this, but to get a space jump, you have to release jump for like a quarter of a second or so, and the timing is just really weird to get used to doing it optimally.
Yeah, the Fusion space jump is arguably one of the worst space jumps in all of Metroid.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
No, Super and Return of Samus are pretty bad because
Those
you
are
actually
fair.
lose your ability to jump after a while.
That's fair.
Yeah. But in Super Metroid, you can still wall jump, so that's a pretty big plus.
It is.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Fun.
Super Metroid has the ability to do static vertical space jumps.
True.
Having like
Oh yeah.
you can just space jump straight up instead of
Yes.
having to go left and right.
What is M2?
Where Metroid Fusion's space jumps are just slow.
Samus just got the news that Scotty's already done.
Very slow.
Got the news that what hurt?
That you are already done. That look of shock.
Yeah, this is a very rare endgame picture here that you're seeing. Not a lot of people know about these hard mode pictures because not a lot of people do hard mode. So
They're awesome.
And even fewer do 1% on hard mode.
right.
This ending is specific to 1%.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 0%, you actually get the normal any percent.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Yeah, it's kind of funny
Yeah.
because it's coded specifically for 1%, not low percent.
I wonder if they actually sell
this
this.
SA:X.
Oh,
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if they
huh?
do. Never seen those
Or
action
it says
figures.
-X in game.
That I wasn't going to, but I will, just so I
That's
can
weird.
finish.
I'm wondering if they actually sell this. I have the Metroid amiibo for Samus Return. I don't think I've ever seen this ever, like in real life.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. I would imagine you would like be able to find them on like eBay or something, but I've never seen them. So who knows? All right.
All right, works. Coming up here on the SAX fight. Be pretty straightforward. This unlock is gonna fight very quick. Go. And we didn't mention this earlier, but it's actually possible to soft lock in this game if you kill this mutated SAX at a certain time while it's turning.
Not in the Japanese version.
Not on the Japanese version?
Nope. They patched
Oh,
that
okay.
out.
Okay, great.
They would.
Yeah, they props to them for doing that because it's very aggravating, especially if you're on a PV run and you just soft lock, or if you're like in a tournament race or something like that, and you soft lock there, and you're done. So props to them for patching that, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a crash that was found in I want to say 2015 or 2016 that involved an audio bug.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, they patched that out of the Japanese version as well.
Oh, wow.
We found this 13 years later after the game was released, and it was already patched out.
Are you talking about the one in Sector 3?
Yeah.
The data room?
Yeah,
because I crashed just a couple weeks ago on the Japanese version.
Oh, yeah?
Just carrying a charge beam through a door, Shine Spark or whatever. Too many noises going on, and it just crashed.
Yeah, I think they just try to play too many sounds, and it doesn't know where to put an extra sound, and it just puts it somewhere in the memory that it shouldn't, and then it just crashes the game.
Probably.
Really bizarre.
We have a runner in our community who's notorious for getting these hard locks. Pulsemore, his name. He always manages to. Oh, very nice low height there.
I think that's the first time I've ever actually managed to get that.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. I just beef it all the time.
It saves what? Is it 3 seconds or just 1?
I have no idea how much time that
no
one
idea.
saves.
You would think it saves a ton of time because you're shine sparking across 2 entire extra screens and then some. But actually, because you're going past the point where you need to turn back and run, and also you bonk on the edge, and you gotta wait to gain control again, it actually kind of detracts from the time savings. And shine sparking, while it is the fastest form, it is the fastest speed of movement. All the startup and bonk animations and whatnot actually make it considerably less fast than you would think.
Yeah, it's actually a lot faster to run in certain portions than it is to use a shine spark. It's really interesting.
Very, very nice.
Sure.
Yay!
Finished a run.
Hooray! I brought the comedy, sort of.
Aside from the Yakuza, everything else was very clean for both runners. So it was a very good run, I think.
Yeah, that's literally the only blemish in my run. Was all that. I don't think I died anywhere else except outside of Yakuza stuff.
Yeah. So any last words?
Good race, Hurt.
Yeah, good race. Thank you, GDQ, for having us.
Yeah.
Been blast.
Yeah, so much fun. I love speedruns. Love low percent.
Oh, I will say, if there's anybody that wants to get into speedrunning Metroid Fusion, even if it's just any percent, I recently finished an in-depth tutorial that goes into different room strategies and items that you can be picked up along the way when you're first learning, stuff like that. So if anybody wants to join join our community and run the game, and they don't know, if we have resources, we have plenty of resources for a bunch of different categories, 100%, any percent, and there's a bunch of people that are definitely willing to help as well. If you've got questions.
Yeah, even if you think you're bad, everyone's bad. Don't worry about that. You get better when you play the game. That's all.
Not see my run.
Pretty much what it takes.
Yeah, thank you, CScottyW, and thank you, HerculesBenchpress, for that incredible, gripping Metroid Fusion 1% hard mode race. And thank you, JaggerG and Rossu, for that very insightful and entertaining commentary. We got some singing. We got some banter. It was a good time. So many donations came in during that run. I'm sorry. The last half of that run is essentially a nonstop block of Serious Town. Let me get a couple in. Got Torco with a $25 donation. They said, "Good evening from Switzerland. What a pleasure to do my first donation on my favorite GBA game. Good luck for both runners, and thanks to everyone for this event." Thank you so much. We've also got $50 from... Alrighty. Beryl from forever ago sends us $5. She said, I had to donate to commend both Iggy and Cardi for their excellent rapping skills. Even if Cardi couldn't do his part on air, I'm confident he was doing it at home. The honor system works on fresh beats too, y'all. I've never been prouder to be friends with both you nerds. Oh, thank you so much, Beryl. That means a lot. All right, everybody, that is it for me for this marathon. Y'all have been incredible. Thank you for showing out all the love. Thank you for getting us over halfway for Pump It Up. Keep it going. We have so many runs. It's there. You just need to take it. Let's do it. I'm going to leave you in the awesome hands of huge witches. Show them a lot of love. They're incredible. And I want to leave you all with a haiku. You all are my joy. We must part, though you'll remain, till AGDQ. I'm going to send you to a quick Twitch ad. Don't worry, SGDQ will be right back.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Welcome back. I'm here now. It's me. It's Huge Witches. Oh, I know you guys missed me. You don't have to hide it. I still am not quite sure why they let me in here, but you guys get to hear me talk now. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to read a couple donations for you guys. We got $100 from Snowman Slick that says, "Let's go, MSF. We need you now more than ever." Gonna sneak in a quick reminder that we've still got that incentive open for the bonus game Pump It Up. On that note, we've got $25 from Hey Corviday that says, "Pump It Up was one of the biggest highlights of CGDQ. It is worth every penny to see Happy work his magic on the dance pad. We still have plenty of time left. Let's get this." And on that note, I am going to pass it on over to an interview about the Final Fantasy VII Remake run with Boring Borin and Kungfufruitcup. Why don't you guys take it away?
Hello, Kungfufruitcup, back here again. I know, so many times today. What's up with that? All right, I am here with Boring Borin, who is getting ready to do his Final Fantasy VII Remake run. That's coming up a little later tonight after, hopefully, when we get to see Pump It Up. So tell me about this any percent. And, well, you know what? First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, okay, I'm glad to hear that. I know you're a little nervous, but everything's going to be great. I'm so excited to see this run. Now, with this any percent, especially since this is a new game. I know that there's tech being developed all the time for it. Can you tell us some of the most recent things that have been helping? Wasn't there a 40-minute time save that just came up?
So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we found a skip in one of the chapters that saves us about 10 minutes, and that was a pretty big find. And there was an earlier version of it that saved almost only 5 or 4 minutes. But that's the thing. Like every week, we're finding new optimizations and new things to improve the time of our run. And
Awesome.
we currently have about 4 skips in this run, and that is really cool to show off.
What do you think is the most interesting skip?
I think the most interesting skip is the Chapter 8 skip. Kind of after the Airbuster fight, we are able to do some series of clips and deloading to kind of get to place where we're not supposed to be, but it ends up skipping about 40 minutes of the game.
Okay. And do you think would you say that's the biggest thing that's impacted the run so far, or would you say maybe there's something else?
Well, it's just a combination of kind of everything, because every time we skip a certain section of the game, we skip out on EXP, we skip out on money and gil and APs, and so every time we find a new skip, every time we do a new skip, we're going to get more and more underleveled and more lacking resources, and so it gets more and more scary as we skip more and more.
Like, how do you compensate for that?
We pick up some things that are a little bit optional. Like one of the things that I end up picking up is the elemental materia, and that ends up adding about 8% to 16% bonus damage onto the character we're controlling. So that's awesome. Really good.
Right, yeah, because you can put fire against people and things like that. I know that that's helpful.
Oh yeah.
So, what would you say is then the scariest thing to look out for during the run? Like, what are you the most nervous about in general?
So the fight that I'm the absolute most scared about is the Valkyrie fight at the end of Chapter 15, because we do a certain skip that ends up deloading a lot of the enemies. It turns out if we end up dying or trying to retry that fight, we go all the way back to a couple of counters before that, and that ends up losing us about 10 minutes if we end up losing that fight. And so I've practiced that fight and made sure that anything that does go bad, I can play through it. So
right, yes, I know you'll be able to do it. You're going to do great, so don't worry. But yeah, I can definitely see how scary that would be. Because 10 minutes in such a long run, it doesn't seem like it would be too big, but it's still 10 minutes no matter what. So I definitely understand. Now I know that you are playing as Cloud for most of the run. You were just saying this a bit ago. So why not? A lot of people like to take advantage of, let's say, Tifa's certain abilities since she's so fast, or ATB loads really quickly. Why does Cloud make a better character to control for the run?
Well, I personally like Cloud a lot more than the other characters, generally because of Punisher mode. When he activates Punisher mode, he's able to counter a lot of physical hits and gain ATB off that counter. And so we're just able to kind of spam this counter, get ATBs super quickly, and just spam it straight into Cloud's ATB. And so that's generally why I like to abuse that on Cloud. Is that way the enemy, even though the enemy kind of gets turns, he doesn't get turns because I counter every single move that he kind of does.
That's cool. Yeah, that's something I didn't necessarily consider. I used Punisher mode a lot too when I was playing very casually, mind you, but it was fun to switch back and forth. So that's interesting that's just what you tend to lean toward, which is cool. Is there anything about this run that you would say could compare similarly to the original Final Fantasy, like maybe in terms of speed tech or anything that overlaps? Because I know it's so different.
There's not a lot that overlap. They're two completely different games, pretty much. The only things is kind of the mechanics, kind of like enemies are weak to certain elements, kind of the fact that we have ATB, we have to manage our ATB, we have to manage materia. Like the materia system's pretty much the same as Final Fantasy VII, but it's used a lot differently thanks to just the more action-paced gameplay of the remake, where the original was more turn-based and had weight manipulation and whatnot, and we don't quite have that.
Right, yeah, for sure. I know it's a different experience, but for those who've been able to play it, or at least love the original and just want to see more of our beautiful boy Cloud, or every character in that game, except for 3, are just made to be way too pretty. They're so pretty. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so excited for your run coming up. This is going to be wonderful. Stick around. We have some great runs lined up for the rest of the evening, including our next run, which is Limcube's Breath of the Wild All Dog Treasures runs. And I was just talking with him a bit ago. So we're super excited for that. And then make sure you stay up to catch this Final Fantasy VII run as well. Thank you so much for chatting with me, Lim. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Or Borin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking about Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. I do that all the time.
All right, I'll
Thank
see
you,
you in a
Borin.
bit.
Best of luck on your run. You're going to kill it. All right, we're going to throw it back up. Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, that sure was fun. Anybody else excited about that run? Because I know I am. But you know what gets me more excited? Petting some dogs. We've got a $5 donation from Lailed Cat that says, I know haikus and limericks are the order of the day, but how about a little meme poem? My name is Link, and in Hyrule, I seek the beasts who bark and drool. Though Ganon lurks in purple fog, I leave him be. I pet the dog. We have a $50 donation from Deba H that says, hey chat, can we have a $5 train to get closer to that pump it up run? Here's the first 10 wagons. You know, nothing beats a good $5 train. Come on, ride that train. Choo choo, ride it. Everybody get on board because it's leaving the station and it's heading straight towards pump it up. We have a $25 donation from Christian and Serena that says, watch every GDQ. My daughter joined for a bit today, and wanted to give $5 of her dollars to DWB, Doctors Without Borders. Thank you, guys. Isn't that so sweet? We're teaching our children right these days. They're our future, truly. We have another $5 donation from Nara Gemfry that says, really epic Metroid race and really epic event overall. Thanks for the effort and keep it up. We have a $50 donation from Autumn Garnet that says, once upon a time, I'd go and drop $20 in the DDR machine every Friday night at the bowling alley. Mad respect for Happy Feeds from one rhythm gamer to another. All right, breaking news. This is coming hot off the presses. It looks like we have, is that a $10,000 donation from Fangamer? Oh my gosh. Here's what Fangamer has to say. Hey everybody, Fangamer here. We really want to see that donation total reach $900,000. This should help a little, but we need your help out there to get there. $5 donation train? Yes! Let's do it. We've been so excited at the response to our SGDQ 2020 merch, especially the official event badges. Our sales goal was met for the Giga badge, so everyone who orders one is getting a shiny foil upgrade. Orders are still open through the end of SGDQ. You can find these awesome badges and the rest of our lineup at fangamer.com/GDQ. Remember, 100% of profits from the sales of SGDQ merch goes to support MSF. All right. We are so close to $1 million, guys. We are going to reach that tonight. There is no way that we aren't. So come on. Get that $5 train moving. Reach into your hearts, reach into your wallets. I'm sure you got a $5 bill hanging out in there somewhere. Maybe in your couch cushions? Who knows? Oh, I see those $5 donations coming in. We got $5 from Ecleptics007 that says, good luck, Lim. We're all cheering you on. Pago Doggo time.